I expect there to be some sort of social unrest, especially in the densely populated areas. No matter what the outcome is, half the population is going to be upset. And, given the state of everything else and the frustration that everybody's feeling, I don't see any way that the cities are going to go unscathed. So I'm going to give you 3 tips to help keep you safe. In particular, seniors, we have different needs. We have different struggles that we have to go through and different things that we have to do to prepare. So in the first place, if you're in a city and you live in a city, if you have somewhere to go immediately following the election, or even the week of the election, go see family, go camping, go do something else if you can. Me, I live 100 miles away from a city, moved out here maybe 8-10 years ago, so we're going to be well away from any of that. That's not for everyone. I get it. Everybody can't live like I do. Some people really enjoy the city. They love the public transportation systems and things like that. I get it. So if you are stuck in the city and you have nowhere else to go, make sure that you have plenty of resources available to you, the things that you need for your family. So if everything goes bad, we don't know, the power might go out. You may not have access to water. You may not have access to electricity. You may not have a few things for a few days. It just depends. I know for me, when we lived in the city, or we actually lived in the suburbs, some silly little thing would happen. It wasn't anywhere near my house, but the power went out and the water went out. And it stayed out. One time, my wife and I, we were out for several days because of an ice storm. And we had no power, we had no water, we had no nothing. But we did have a bathtub full of water so that we could flush. The power had jittered a little bit. And said that's our key. The second that happens, if we still have water and availability of water, there's still pressure, we fill the bathtub so that we can have something for flushing. And we also, now we keep many of those big 5-gallon bubbles of water. We had a Great Dane at the time. And since there was no electricity and it was an ice storm, it was in the middle of winter, we had to put him in one of I had a big dog workout shirt, and he didn't want to take it off after we were done with the few days that we went without electricity. So we had the ability to cook in the house and everything else because we have gear for this. We're avid outdoors people, so we had camping gear. We actually had a fireplace in that particular apartment, and we made it quite nicely. We all 3, my wife, me, and my Great Dane, we all just hunkered down right there in front of the fireplace, and that's where we slept. And we did quite well. Okay, so things that you want to keep with you in your house in the first place, let's say you can't get out of the city. I get it. Have food necessary for at least a couple weeks for everybody in the house. Things that you can put together with very little preparation. If you don't have electricity, I said, you don't have running water. You have the water that you have stored up or saved back, and that's good. That's fine. So you're going to have food. You want to have all your prescriptions filled. And I would do that prior to the November 5th election. You want to have all of your hygiene products for at least a couple of weeks. There's no reason not to. Pet foods, pet necessities, anything that you're going to need for your animals, you've got to have that. I would say shaving stuff, but that doesn't matter. Obviously, I don't care about that. I prefer to have to have my beard this length. Um, but all of the things that you're going to need to sustain your lives and be relatively comfortable. Um, it's going to be November, depending on where you are. It's going to be cold. Could be cold, so you're going to want to make sure that that you have plenty of like blankets to just wrap around yourself and things like that. You can stay warm. You can stay warm without fire, without anything, but you want to keep your shelter. Okay, flashlights. You want to keep flashlights. You want to keep spare batteries for everything that needs batteries. You want to have a small AM/FM radio that runs off of batteries. And to keep stuff charged and to run very small 110 utilities, I keep one of these. I have this in my car all the time, but we have used this several times when we ran out of power. Power went out, and I live out in the middle of nowhere, so my power does go out. It's kind of routine. It's normal. But this thing has saved me and my family more than once. It has a light. It's really just made for jump starting the car. It has a little compressor on it. It has some USB ports on it for charging my phones and things like that. It's a 12 amp hour battery. It'll charge your phone several times without a problem, and it recharges. If I'm not going to say go out to your car, but if you had to and this goes dead, you can actually hook it up to the battery of the car, start the car, and this will charge that way. Or your power comes back on, you plug it into the wall and it charges. So now I want to let you know that I'm going to be doing a few of these before November 5th with additional tips. I want to do it in 3 tip segments because there might be just something in here that you haven't thought about, or maybe it's something that you just forgot, something that you just like, oh man, pet food. I didn't think about that. Or prescriptions. That's a big one, for, I have some prescriptions that I have to take. I don't have a whole lot, but I know that other people do. So keep those on hand. Now, 3rd tip. Let's say you're hunkering down in your home. Do not open your door for people. I know that they're going to come to the door. They're going to seem nice. And if you don't know them and trust them very well, you don't let them in. You just pretend you're not there. A lot of bad things can happen when you start letting people in your house or your apartment or your condo. And a lot of these people, that they know, they've scoped this out. They've scoped out your areas. They know where the people that have something worth taking live, and they know that you're vulnerable. So, these tips work for everyone, but in particular for the vulnerable, for elders, for seniors. Young people, young predators, they just look for opportunities to make a mess. You've seen for the last few years what happened, and most of us remember the Kent State shootings back in 1970, I believe it was. I grew up there, so I remember the shootings, but I also remember all the rioting that led up to there being those shootings. All of that civil unrest. We've seen this after just about every hurricane, after tornadoes, after natural disasters. People will it's just in their nature to do it, to make trouble, to loot, to steal. I don't know why. I mean, they could be putting that energy into helping, but they don't. So, if you got anything out of this video, I hope you like it. I hope you give it a thumbs up. And I'd really like to see in comments what your tips are. What do you want to have for the potential natural disaster? Or in this case, we have, potential civil unrest. I don't know that it's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. But I am a realist, and my instincts tell me that we just need to be ready. I get that some of you are going to have to still drive into the city, even if you don't live in the city. I have friends who actually work in the city that are not going to be able to just take off of work just because there's social unrest. They're going to have to go, and I know they'll be careful, and they'll take different routes than they normally do. They'll take the least populated routes into their place of work. So you should do the same. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I do want to see those comments. So thanks a lot, everyone. That's all I've got for today. Stay safe.